Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. This Jamestown City Council Candidate Forum is hosted by the Jamestown Area Chamber of Commerce. The Jamestown Area Chamber is a nonpartisan entity in the community that is hosting this event to help give our area residents easy access to candidates and information on the upcoming election and voting. I'm Emily Bivens, the Executive Director at the Jamestown Area Chamber, and I'm pleased to be here as your moderator. If you have questions for the candidates, please write your question on a provided index card and submit that to the chamber volunteers in the back. We will try to cover as much as we can while still being respectful of everybody's time. The format for the evening's forum will be as follows. We will be presenting the candidates running for the unexpired city council seat on June 9th, 2026. Each candidate will be allowed approximately 2 minutes for an opening statement. So that's a little different from the school board. You'll each get 2 minutes for an opening statement. Following that the questions will be presented to each candidate, and we will allow approximately 2 minutes for responses. This is not a debate, therefore we will not entertain any rebuttals. At the end of the forum, each candidate will have another opportunity for a closing statement. Candidates, when you have 30 seconds left of your time to speak, our lovely volunteer will give you a signal, and at the end of your allotted time, he will give you another signal. If you have not wrapped up your statement in that allotted time, I will cut your time short and move on to the next candidate or the next question. Are we ready for the evening? All right, we're going to start the evening with each candidate introducing themselves. So we'll start with you, Pam Phillips. Do you have the microphone? There it is. Yes.
My voice amplified is scary for me, even. My name is Pam Phillips. I was not born in Jamestown, but this has been my chosen city. I've been here for a long time. I have watched things come. I've watched things go. I enjoy what I do. And I'm running again for city council because I think that's where my heart belongs. That's what I love to do for the city, is be a part of the city council. I have 2 children that are grown and live in Grand Forks, and they don't come and visit me very often. That's a good thing because they have opinions. They have opinions, and they're not ones that are shared by their mother. So they don't come very often. My birthday is this month, so I have a birthday and I have Mother's Day, and neither one. Well, maybe I might get a card. I don't know. But anyway, I'm here, and I think this is going to be an excellent forum.
Shannon, please introduce yourself.
All right. My name is Shannon Davis. I have been in the city of Jamestown for approximately the last 19 years, but I really pretty much grew up around here. My grandparents were from here, so I spent a lot of time as youth here, and that's what led me to come back as an adult. I am married. We have 4 children. One is in the United States Marine Corps. One is attending BSc online and works at Ave Maria. One is graduating high school this May and has joined the National Guard and will be going to boot camp right after high school. And then the youngest is 9 and attends public elementary school here in Jamestown. I am currently employed at Stutsman County as the Human Resource Director slash Assistant Finance Director. I have over 13 years of leadership experience to include public administration, budget management, as well as personnel management. And I've also worked in the public sector in a leadership role as well. My desire to get involved on the city council is my desire to get involved, serve my community, and assist in the strategic planning that helps not only us, but our future generations. I will be an active member of the council, working with community members, business leaders, and stakeholders to ensure effective governance. And I will do the research and make decisions that are based on the best interests of the city and its residents. I really want to work for you and with you and be your vision and your voice, because I think together we can make a brighter future for the city of Jamestown. Thank you.
All right, our final candidate is Brock. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Brock Mosolf. I'm going to be 47 the end of the May here, and I've lived in Jamestown my whole life. Born here, raised here, worked here. I work at West End. I've got 23 years in down there hauling scrap metal. Married here, raised my 2 boys. I got a boy that works at Wilhelm's. My youngest son works at JRCC as a sergeant at the correctional center. Not a man of many words, but I wanted to be on city council to help grow the community I grew up in and love. So I just want to work for the people. So if people have concerns, I don't care what your social status is, where you live, where you work. If you got some concerns, I would try to bring them to the city council and the mayor to make everybody's voices heard. That's all I got.
Great, thank you, Brock. Can pass the microphone back down to Pam. Our first question of the evening is, what are your top 3 outcomes you want to achieve for Jamestown in the next 2 years, and how will you measure that success?
Housing, housing, and housing. Because without housing, you can't bring people to work. If they can't find a place to live, they won't be able to work. That's what we have to work on. The city has kind of taken a step at our last at our last city council meeting. We talked about getting some land into the hands of contractors so they could build. And it's an area up by Louis L'Amour. All the specials are paid. All they have to, Mayor, if I'm saying the wrong thing, you need to let me know. Yeah, well, I know. Well, but I don't want to lead anybody astray. The specials have been paid on these lots. They're buildable right now. All of the water, sewer, all that kind of stuff is going to be put in so that whoever builds there can just build. We don't need a developer. We need a contractor. And I know there aren't many contractors in the community, but we are hoping that opening this land up, it'll bring contractors from other cities to work in Jamestown, which again, there goes 30 seconds. There goes housing, and more housing. We need that. We've got to have it. I turned the second floor of my home into an apartment because I didn't need the second floor, but I certainly have had a couple of tenants who have lived there and enjoyed living there and were glad to have a place to live. So if you've got a spare second floor, think about turning it into an apartment. You just never know.
Thank you, Pam.
You bet.
Shannon, same question.
Housing is one of our major needs, but I'm going to address that later on when we get to a question on housing. 3 of the things that I really want to see is, one would be growth and economic development. I really want to see a thriving economy in the city of Jamestown. We have a great base, and I think we just need to lay the groundwork by prioritizing infrastructure and then focusing on community enhancement. We can measure success for this by a number of new businesses coming in versus business closures, and also sales tax revenue growth. The other thing that I really want to see is commitment to public safety. Public safety is the foundation of a strong city, and I'm committed to keeping our communities safe. Currently, our police department, if you've seen in the paper, we are staffed at critically low levels, which to me as a citizen is very concerning. These are the men and women that keep you, your family, and my family safe, and I think that is very important. So I think it's imperative that we adopt innovative solutions to promote recruitment and retention to increase staffing levels. Just to give you an idea, even if we were fully staffed in our police department, we have no cushion in there. So Jamestown has approximately 1 officer for every 544 residents. Now that's if we're at full staff levels. Wahpeton, with approximately 8,000 citizens, they have 1 officer for every 421 citizens. And then Devil's Lake has approximately 7,000, a little over 7,000 residents, and they have one officer for every 360 residents. So I think it's really important that we put public safety as a high priority. My other one, my time's going to be up soon, but it's fiscal responsibility and stability. I really want to see us implement long-term financial planning just so we can meet the needs of our community and be proactive in our decision-making.
Thank you, Shannon. Brock, same question.
The first one on mine would be lower property taxes. How that looks, that would have to be city council coming together with the mayor and maybe the county commission so we can do lower property taxes. Because when I was out getting signatures, I got over 200 signatures to get put on the ballot. And about half of them people were concerned about property tax. It's too high. They don't know what they're going to do. Some people, their mortgages are going up. They pay mortgage or escrow gets reassessed every year. So sometimes they go up. Well, if it's $200, that's $200 less you have to buy groceries. Other one is, yes, housing. Can we get developers to come in and either build low-income housing or like Washington School is empty? What would it cost to renovate that into a low-income housing unit? And 3 is bring more jobs to Jamestown, whether it's manufacturing or IT or tech jobs. See what's out there. Because if we want to grow this community, we need jobs. And also bringing more jobs in will help keep our young people from migrating out of Jamestown.
Thank you, Brock. You can pass the microphone over to Shannon. We'll start with her for this next question. And it is in reference to a few topics you brought up. In light of the property tax cap for local entities, what are your priorities when making difficult budget decisions? And how will you balance tax burden with service expectations?
Okay, that is a great question because our citizens deserve quality core services. These are things like water, sewer, maintained roads, public safety. These things are so important to our citizens. However, with each service comes a cost associated with it. Increased costs have placed a burden on our taxpayers, and I think we really need to work hard to reduce some of that burden. And then on top of that, property tax caps also add complexity to budgetary planning when trying to balance the needs of the community. I have had several years working I have several years of experience in the development and management of a municipal and capital budget. And when working on a municipal budget, I think that collaboration is key for aligning goals. That includes community, business leaders, and department heads. I also think it's important to coordinate with our department heads and analyze any of our spending trends, look for variances to ensure we have accurate forecasting. The goal is to enhance transparency, align the resources with the goals and the needs of the community, and also maintain fiscal responsibility at that time. I just want to let you know I've had the opportunity, I've met with several of our department heads at the cities just to talk with them about their departments, how they operate, what kind of needs that they see within their department for the community. And I can just tell you that we have a great core staff at the city, and they really do care about our citizens and, keeping costs as low as they can while improving efficiencies. So I think we just really need to coordinate with them, talk to our community members, what the priorities are, and align those goals together.
Thank you, Shannon. Brock, same question.
As far as the income property tax cap goes, we'd have to look at the city budget, see if there's anything we can trim or cut. And when I say cut, I don't mean jobs, but say somebody from the street department, the head of the street department retires, do we promote within and leave a position open? And equipment, do we run the equipment a little bit longer? Maintenance is a big thing. If we can maintain the equipment a little bit more to save that expense, to help the taxpayers save money. And that's all I got.
Perfect. Thank you, Brock. Pass the microphone over to Pam. Pam, same question.
Yep, we have a property tax cap. Can't go any higher. Can only spend that. So how do we prioritize? Well, we all know we need police and fire, and I have had discussions with both. We need those people. We need them to work in our community. We need our community to be safe. So funding them is very, very important. Our general fund and our public building fund, that's where the tax, the 3% goes annually. That just, we have so much to do and a finite amount of money. And I think the city council, the times, well, what have I got? I've got 13 and a half years on the city council. I think that accounts for something. I've watched where the rocks are. I can't walk on water yet because the rocks keep moving, but I'm trying. And the rest of the people in the city council are trying too. We're trying to put our heads together and make our responsibility, our fiscal responsibility matter. We need, and transparency on the council. I think our council is very transparent. What I would love to see is more people come to the council meeting so they know what's going on, because we're working hard. 30 seconds. Oh. We need to make sure we fund those things that we have going on. We have a strong city government, strong people that work there. They know what's going on. They know how hard things are that we are responsible for, and they're helping. They really are. Oh, my time is up. My time is up.
Thank you, Pam. You can pass the microphone down to Brock. We'll start with him for this next question. How would you include citizens in the decision-making process? We just talked about making a lot of difficult decisions with the budget. How would you include citizens in the decision-making process to ensure transparency and proper communication?
For one, I think I would try to change the meeting time of the city council to where everybody can attend, because I know a lot of people work till 5 or 6, and it's hard for them to come to the city council meetings and express their concerns. And also on big deals coming up, either not have to have it put to a vote, but can you put out mailers with the information on it so people can fill out and send them back in, so you can calculate the responses and see what the opinions of the public actually is. That's all I got.
Pass it down to Pam. Pam, same question.
Okay. I only know what I know. I say things sometimes at the council meeting about a position that I hold. It may not be the position that I want to hold, but it may be all of the information that I have at that moment. I rely on people calling me, stopping me on the street, trying to run me over as I'm trying to get into the store. If you've got something that you think I need to know, or you know I need to know, you get a hold of me. Call me on the phone. My number's on the website. Send me a text. Knock on my door, although there are 3 doors to get into my place. So because I have a renter. So you have to knock really loud. But I want to hear, I want to know what you are thinking, because I am flexible. I will change my mind if I have better information. One of the people who used to be on the council, when I said that in a council meeting, this is what I know. Tell me what I don't know. And he looked at me and he said, you can't say things like that. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, people will think you don't know what's going on. I said, well, in this case, I don't know what's going on. I need to know from citizens how I should stand, how I should vote, what I need to know, what will make me a better council person and just a better person. So don't hesitate to get a hold of me. And if I call you and I want your opinion, give it to me, whether I want it or not.
Thank you, Pam. Shannon, same question.
Well, one of the things that I would want to do is promote community engagement. I think collaboration is key in everything. No matter who you vote for, you're voting for a leader that represents you. this is your city too. You need to have a voice in it. And that's one of the things that, I would be running on. I want to be your vision and your voice. I have throughout my career, I've met with many people, whether that's, on a personal level, business level, legislators. I like to create those partnerships and those relationships. I'm a person that you could talk to no matter what your opinion is. I will always be respectful of you, whatever you have to say. I would like to have that meaningful dialogue together. I think that's really important that we collaborate what it is that we're doing on a leadership level, because our citizens need to have trust in their leadership that their needs are going to be met. And how to do that is by visiting with them and aligning shared visions and goals. I'm big on transparency. So I also think a lot of times on meetings, we need to be better at communicating what it is that we have on our agenda. Not everybody goes through and reads the agenda, but you'll see a newspaper article later on and say, hey, I really had an opinion about that. I really wanted to say something about that, but I didn't even know it was here. Now it's done and over with. So I really think we need to communicate any of those big items out to our community, let you know when we'll be talking about it, so that if you do have something that you want to say, that you can come and do so. I also highly encourage everybody, there is a public input portion at the beginning of every meeting. You can come voice your concerns, your opinions, but whatever it is, I would just love to work with you and align our shared visions and goals.
Thank you, Shannon. All right, we have lots of questions from the audience, so I'm going to go a bit off script. We'll start with you, Pam, for this next question. We just talked about being transparent, and what is your perspective on individuals serving in roles that may overlap between city, county government, or other public entities? And how would you handle those situations where your employment or other affiliations could create a conflict of interest? And we understand in a small community that conflicts of interest will happen, but how would you handle that?
That's really a tough question. That really is. Conflicts of interest happen all the time. All the time. Conflicts of interest happen in families, for heaven's sakes. Sometimes you like your cousin, sometimes you don't. I think you have to try and balance it out, and you have to be very open. Oh, I don't want to get in trouble here. I'm sorry, Shannon.
No.
It's tough. It's tough to have somebody working in the city and working in the county too. That's very tough. And being in that position would be hard for me. But I think if you monitor yourself and understand what you're capable of doing and what your abilities are, you can walk through that, and you can be good for the county, you can be good for the city, you can be good for your club. You can do those things if you handle yourself right and keep yourself above board.
Thank you, Pam. Shannon, same question.
Can you repeat that question one more time?
Sure. What is your perspective on individuals serving in roles that may overlap between city and county government or other public entities? And how would you handle these situations where your employment or other affiliations could create a conflict of interest? And like I said, we understand conflicts of interest are going to happen, but how would you handle that?
I guess, again, transparency is key. So that question, like I had stated earlier, I work at Stutsman County, so I do work for local government. But I am professional in everything I do, including my job. So, I may work with my friends. I may work with relatives. But one thing that I can tell you is I always remain true to the job that I have at hand. And I make sure that I follow all those guidelines. I also want to be absolutely clear that I am not running to change the city to be more like the county. I am just employed at the county. That would be my employer. I am running for city council because I see a need in our community. I am a resident here. I see visions and goals that we have. And unfortunately, not a lot of people run or want to put themselves out there and get involved. So that's where, I decided it's time in my career. I've had leadership experience. I've had lots of experience with operating businesses. I've worked and helped start a business from the ground up here in the community. And so I just really felt that my experience and my knowledge would be helpful. Also, as far as like transparency, I would, if there was ever to be a conflict, I would withdraw from whatever decision making that would be. I could also say if elected onto the city council, I would actually ask to not be on any committees that were joint committees with the county. I would like to do stuff for our city. Like I would love to be on JSDC board. I would also like to be on the planning and zoning committee. So I would make it very clear up front that any of the things that operate under the county, that's not what we're trying to do here. I just really want to work for our city.
Perfect. Thank you, Shannon. Brock, same question.
So in my opinion, if your two positions would directly cross one another, the simple answer is you would have to recuse yourself from the conversation just to make things fair and transparent.
Thank you. That is a good reminder. You have 2 minutes, but you don't have to use the whole 2 minutes. Shannon, we'll start with you for this next question. Go back to housing. What role should the city play in housing development, and what specific actions will you take?
I think the city needs to be involved in housing. We have a desperate need for housing, and currently our demand outpaces our supply. And so my thought process on that is that we need to be involved in the strategic planning and come up with a comprehensive plan on how to move forward. We need to create partnerships with community members, community organizations, stakeholders, legislatures, and work together so that we can leverage resources to meet the needs of our community. So I think that's what the biggest way that we are going to move forward is with strategic planning and then creating those impactful partnerships, just so we can leverage those resources, because we know that, it costs a lot, but I would like to see us be able to find, ways that we can promote that growth. Like if it is, right now with JSDC, they have money set aside so that they can help with some of that infrastructure. I think that's huge. So I just really think we need to keep those kind of partnerships and continue to look for that kind of funding, because that's what's going to help take some of those costs off of the home buyers to try to keep our housing affordable. When our contractors have to pay those costs themselves up front, they end up turning those costs over to the home owner or the home buyer, and that's what is driving those costs of our houses up so much. And so what I really think our part is trying to aid in finding that affordable housing, because we need to be able to offer various levels of housing in our community to meet our needs.
Thank you, Shannon. Brock. Yep, same question.
First, get input from the citizens of Jamestown on what they want or what they need. And two, find developers that would want to come in here and build or remodel to make that happen. And whether that is offering them tax incentives or, lower permit costs, without giving away the farm, get people in here that are going to build affordable housing and keep it affordable.
Gotcha. Thank you, Brock. Pam, same question.
Will you repeat the question?
Sure. What role should the city play in housing development, and what specific actions will you take?
That's what I thought you said. We did make the first step at our last council meeting, and I mentioned this before. we approved lots, like I brought the picture. It's up by Louis L'Amour School. It's the Mary Young Edition. And then below that, it's the West Ridge Estates. We have taken the first step. We have said, okay, no specials. We're developing those lots, no specials. The contractor can come in and build a house or an apartment building or whatever in those lots in that area. I think that's huge. City's never done that before. And somebody mentioned earlier about Washington School. I think that's a wonderful idea. Turn Washington School into apartments, low-income apartments, high-income apartments. I don't care. I just think we need to use that building. That building needs to be redone and reborn into something that the community can use. I say too many times. I think I think that's it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go back to another audience question, and we'll start with Brock this time, so you can pass the mic over to him. What is something you could bring to the city council that you feel is missing? And do you think bringing that, what you feel is missing, would help grow Jamestown?
I don't want to offend anybody, but common sense, hard work, common sense, see what the people want and fight for them. That's what we're up here for. We're here to fight for the city of Jamestown, the people that live in Jamestown, to make Jamestown the best community we can possibly make it. Whether that's lowering property tax, bringing jobs in, build Buffalo World, whatever they want, stuff like that.
Thank you, Brock. Let's pass it over to Pam.
The question again.
What is something you feel you bring to city council that might be missing? And do you think bringing that would help grow Jamestown?
When I got on the city council eons ago, I was just a child. I want you to know, just a child. Anyway, when I first got on the council, everybody says, what's a woman doing on the council? What in the world would a woman add to the city council? And I thought that was pretty good, because I thought, yeah, I can add a lot. I add a different perspective. I look at things from a different way, and sometimes it drives the guys nuts. But most of the time, they understand that I gotta say my piece, and I've got to let them know how I feel about things. And for the most part, the council, we get along just fine. But I will stand up for the woman that I am, and say my piece and make things known on the council that maybe that isn't the right way. Maybe we need to look at something else.
Thank you, Pam. Shannon, same question.
Thank you. I think that I would bring a fresh new perspective to the council with forward-thinking leadership. Like I said, my desire for being on the city council is to assist in that strategic planning. And I really think that it's important that we come up with some comprehensive plans, ways to move forward. I would love more than anything to get some of our children to move back here. The problem is there's lots of different parts of the puzzle that we have to put together before we see a lot of that in our community. I'm also working in the same current market that you are. So I see the same struggles that you're going through. I see how hard it is for recruitment and retention. We have some really good paying jobs here in Jamestown that require specific degrees, and we struggle to fill even those positions. And part of the reason is due to housing and the ability to do stuff. When I talk to younger generations between the ages of 21 and 35, a lot of them tell me there is nothing to do here if you don't want to go to a bar. There's no place for them to go out and connect. So we've seen this firsthand where I work. We get professionals that we hire, bring in. They don't pick up permanent housing here. They may even travel an hour to 30 minutes just to get here. And then they end up moving on to a community that has more affordable housing, various housing levels, and things for them to do. So like I said, I think I can bring a fresh new perspective, some new ideas. And I just would really be excited to work with all of our community members and organizations and move Jamestown forward. What was that last?
I start with Pam this time, I believe. Pam, if you were elected, explain how you intend to effectively communicate Jamestown's needs to the state legislature.
First, you have to get their attention. And I say that tongue in cheek, but that's the truth. You have to get their attention because a lot of times they don't really care what you have to say. They just don't, because they're there and we're here and that's it. And once you have their attention, you have to have a well laid out plan. You can't go in there and just start waving your arms and screaming and hollering. You have to know what it is that you want, and you have to tell them exactly what they can do to facilitate what you want. And don't leave. Bring your sleeping bag. And don't leave. Don't just go in there and tell them what you want, and then you're gone. No, you stay there and you make them ask you questions and you make them understand what it is you're looking for and what it is that you want, and be persistent. Women know how to be persistent, and men do too, but women have a different way of going about it, which sometimes works to our advantage.
Thank you, Pam. Shannon, same question.
So over the last several years, I've had the opportunity of attending legislative sessions and then conferences later where we meet with legislators. Like I said, communication and collaboration is key. I have sat at the table with many legislators on other topics that affect our community, maybe our places of employment. And so I think it's just coming to the table with them, being an advocate for our community. And that is what I would do. I would advocate for our community and our needs. And I think if you sit down with the legislators and you're able to clearly communicate the needs of your community and have meaningful dialogue and conversation with them, that we would be able to convey that and see some movement. As we all know, legislation, you talk to one person, but it really is an overall vote. So that's really kind of where I think that struggle would come in for what we can get. But I do think our legislators are well aware of the housing needs throughout the state. So I'm just hoping that the more that we can each advocate for our community and our needs, that eventually we'll be able to secure some sort of funding or resources or some sort of additional help from the state to help with some of that throughout the whole entire state, actually. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Shannon. Brock, same question.
I would say I'd agree with Pam. Just keep fighting. Just, once you get their attention, make them engage with you. Make them hear your voice, hear the citizen's voice, and don't stop until the light bulb goes off. Oh, hey, these guys are serious. Let's listen to them. Let's take this to Bismarck and, put this to the Senate and see what we can do for the people in every community.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, we will send it down to Shannon, I believe. What investments in quality of life do you believe will be the greatest return for residents and visitors for Jamestown?
So this one, I believe, is economic development. And I really think that should be our ultimate goal. This is what's going to help us to attract and retain a skilled workforce. Economic development is also being proactive kind of in our effort to increase wealth, strengthen our tax base, and boost the quality of life of our citizens through job creation, business growth, and then also infrastructure investment. So I really think that we need to create a strategic plan that is tailored to meet our community visions and goals, to move forward with that economic development in our community. And I just think that one of the things that we also need to be careful of with that economic development and moving forward with growth is I know a lot of times people get scared about too much growth or too fast. And so that's where we would have to come together and do it strategically to tailor it so that we have responsible growth in our community. And when I say that, that means laying that groundwork, making sure that our community is safe by having the ample amount of public safety here. Just a construction phase alone can increase crime rates in a area. So I would really like us to see us move forward in a responsible manner so that the growth is a pleasurable experience for our community. But I really do think that that is the one thing that can enhance the quality of life because it's going to provide more opportunity for our citizens and also amenities with businesses.
Thank you. Brock, same question.
I agree with Shannon. Get better paying jobs. We got good paying jobs, but more good paying jobs with good benefits to attract people, then that'll contribute to more tax dollars coming in the city where we can spend it on paving roads, and stuff like that, beautifying more of the parks and just making Jamestown better with the additional tax dollars. But then we don't want Jamestown to grow too big. That was one thing that somebody said to me when I said, well, I want to grow Jamestown. They're like, well, we don't need to grow Jamestown like Fargo. Well, I don't want Jamestown like Fargo. You get as big as Fargo, you got Fargo problems, and we don't need Fargo problems in Jamestown.
Awesome. Thank you, Brock. Pam, same question.
It's the question about investments in quality of life.
Quality
correct?
of life, yeah.
Okay. We are investing in our quality of life. We have pedestrian bridges, a couple of places in town. We have we got new restrooms in a couple of the parks. Yay, rah, rah. That's important. That's important because you have to have those kind of amenities. We have to keep our city safe. So our police and our fire and our EMS, all those people, they're very EMS, emergency management system. We have to keep all of those things in play and keep all of those things vital because we need them. We need, if we have a heart attack, we need to know that somebody's going to come. If we break our leg in the middle of a park, we need to know that somebody's going to come. If our house is on fire, we've got to have somebody come. And heaven forbid that sleazy guy that lives across the street is in your backyard taking stuff out of your garage. You need the police department. We need all of those things. That's quality of life. And the quality of life gets better as those services are available. We have our public works, the people who work for the city, who keep our streets clean, who take our garbage, who do all of those kinds of things. Where would we be without all of those people? Where would we be? Would we be doing it? I have a hard enough time with getting my recycling out to the street. I don't know what I would do if I had to do everything. I'm very proud of the people that work for our city. Very proud. They're hard workers. They're good workers. We need to make sure that we keep them, that they don't go to Fargo for a better job, that they stay here. Somebody said, well, if we can't give them better wages, take them a plate of cookies. That's not an answer. That's not an answer. And there are people in this room who will understand that reference.
All right. Thank you, Pam.
You bet.
All right. We will start with Brock at this next question. Okay. Thank you. Describe a time where you changed your mind about an issue and how you came to that conclusion after gathering some data.
I'm pretty stubborn. I don't think I've had to change my mind on issues. Once I'm locked into an issue, that's...
You're married, right, Bill?
Yeah. Trust me, she knows how stubborn I am. But generally, when I get my mind set on something, that's where I go. Unless somebody just comes and knocks me over the head, and say, hey, look a little closer, then, I might. I really can't say I've had an instance where I've been on an issue and changed my mind.
Thank you. Pam, we'll go down to you for the same question.
I am always open to changing my mind. And I said that earlier. I will tell you what I know about a certain thing. If you think I'm off the wall and don't understand what's going on, then you need to talk to me. You need to tell me why I need to change my mind. I'm not the brain trust here. I'm not. I only have my opinion, and sometimes my opinion doesn't hold water. My children will tell you that they think my opinion doesn't hold water. But if I need to change my mind, I am able to. I am not locked in. I understand that there are different perspectives that I don't even know, and that I need to be told. Because if I don't know what they are, how can I make an intelligent decision?
Thank you, Pam. Shannon, go ahead.
Well, we're all humans, so I think we always go into something where we have an opinion either one way or another. But when it comes to making a decision on something, I always make sure to do my research first. So there might be something on surface value that I think sounds like a great idea. We should just jump in. It sounds like a good opportunity. But that's where I will go and do my homework before I would make a decision, because sometimes that may not be the best interest for whatever it is that you're making that decision for. And this would be no different for me. I exercise that daily in my current job and in my life. I'm also huge, like I said earlier, on collaboration. That's really where a lot of ideas start flowing. You get people to the table, you get different ideas. Sometimes you may have an opinion about how something would work one way, but somebody can offer some extra input about how we could even make that better. So I would say I'm not flippy floppy in my decision making by any means. But what I do is I, start off with my initial opinion, and then I will do the research, collaborate with others before I would actually make a decision. And I will make sure that decision is in the best interest of the community and citizens.
All right, I have to ask this question because I am the tourism and chamber director, but we'll start with Pam.
Okay.
It's a pretty easy question before we go into final statements. What do you love about living in Jamestown? End on a positive note.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This is a great community. The tourism, by the way, the Tourism Foundation, I am the mother of tourism. I have to say that because it was me that said, we need a tourism board. We need to have that. It was me that said that. And I am so glad I did. Tourism has been a driving force in the things that we have done in our community, and I'm so happy about it. I love living here. I've got 4 seasons. I've got water sports, and I'm not into water sports, but I'm glad it's there. And I go out and watch other people enjoy it, but we have great parks. We have a safe community. I think that's the most important thing. You can go outside and walk your dog and be relatively safe. I wouldn't do it at 2:00 in the morning, but you can walk your dog in this community. You can let your children play in the yard. You don't have to, although every parent that I know is a helicopter parent. You watch your kids like hawks. You watch your kids till they're 45. You just watch your kids. It's a great community. I love it. I love it. I love living here. I wasn't born and raised here. I was born and raised in Fargo. Fargo is where I'm from. But I outgrew that. And I live here now. And I've watched this community grow and watch the people grow. And I look around the room. I know everybody here. This is just cool for me. And that's how I feel about this community. I know everybody. And I really don't, but don't tell them. I love it here.
Awesome. Thank you, Pam. Shannon, same question.
I always refer to Jamestown as the biggest, most beautiful little city, and that is why I am here. I grew up in Valley City. Then I ended up going to college in Fargo, and I ended up moving here to Jamestown. And why is because, like I told you earlier, I spent a lot of my youth growing up here. My family was here from here. My parents were originally from here. My grandparents lived here, and Jamestown was so awesome. It had beautiful parks compared to what we had in Valley City, and there were more of them too. We had at least 2 more parks here. The shopping was awesome. In high school, my friends and I, we would come to Jamestown just to walk around the mall. We'd go to Orange Julius and hang out, and we just had the greatest time. And we just thought Jamestown was so cool because it had so many opportunities that Valley City didn't. And then fast forward, when I went to school in Fargo, that was a little too big for me. I found that I really like the hometown feel where you just feel like you're welcome with everyone and that you have those amenities that you could take advantage of. And so that's really what brought me to Jamestown, is because here you can get across town in 10 minutes or less. We still have lots of opportunities here. We just have, like I said, it's the most biggest, beautiful little city, and the community members and the community engagement here is something that can't be matched.
Awesome. Thank you. Brock, same question.
I love Jamestown. It's my hometown. I'm proud to be from Jamestown. I only left Jamestown for 4 months. We went to school in Devil's Lake and just found it was too difficult to raise 2 kids and try to go to college. So I moved back home and worked the job I've been working. And, I think I grew up in Jamestown, the best era in the 80s and 90s. There was no internet, no Facebook. I mean, if there was Facebook back when I was growing up, I would probably be locked up someplace. All the shenanigans that my friends and I pulled. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of old friends here, a lot of new friends here. I'm glad my kids are here, because I really don't want to be one of them grandparents where I have to wait for my grandkids to come from Texas or California or Washington State. I want my grandkids to be able to come and knock my door down and say, "Hey, Grandpa, hey, Grandma, how's it going?" So I just want to come and be on City Council to fight for Jamestown, make it the best town that we can make it. Because I honestly love Jamestown. There's days where you wake up and you're like, oh, but then it's like you get over it and it's like, yeah, it's my hometown. I love it here.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, you can pass the microphone back down to Pam. And now we will have each candidate have up to 2 minutes for a closing statement. And our last question is, why should citizens vote for you?
I think I'm the best person for the job. In all my time on the council, I've always felt I was in the right place, the right time, with the right people. And I have enjoyed being on the city council. I would hope that I could get your vote. I would love to have your vote. I'd love to return to the city council. The job isn't done. Every day the city council has new things to do, new challenges, new opportunities. And I want to be there. I want to be part of the solution. Please, vote for me. My name is Pam Phillips. Come knock on my door, knock really hard. Come knock on my door and tell me something that you think I should know, because it's important that everybody have a voice in what's going on in this community.
Shannon, your closing statement.
Okay. Well, like I said earlier, I just really want to get involved in that strategic planning that not only affects us, but our future generations. I think that Jamestown needs some fresh leadership, some new ideas, and someone that can be an advocate for them. Like I said earlier, I'm huge on collaboration. This is your city too. Just because you elect people in, it doesn't mean that they get to make all the decisions without getting your input. This is your community, and you should have a say in the forward movement of it as well. And that's where I would come in and be that advocate for you. I would be your vision, be your voice, so that we could work together and align our shared visions and goals goals for the community of Jamestown. I just highly want to encourage everybody to get out and vote on June 9th. This is your time to vote for your city officials. They are not on the November ballot. A lot of times there's confusion behind that. I know, when people complain about, things that are happening in the city, this is that one time to get out and voice your opinion. This is the first place to do it. So just really encourage you, get out and vote on June 9th. And I would be honored to have your support, and I would be an honor to work for you and with you. And I just want to thank you all for being here today, and also thank the Chamber for putting this on. But thank you, guys.
Hey, Shannon. Brock, your closing statement, please.
Voting for me would be, fresh blood on the city council. Get new ideas, fresh ideas. I'm willing to go to fight for the people of Jamestown. Like I said, I don't care if you make $30,000 a year, $150,000 a year. If you have a concern, address it with me, and I will bring it to the city council and the mayor and see what we can do. See what we can do to make Jamestown better. Address your concerns. I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm not a politician. I'm a truck driver. I shift gears for a living. So, but yeah, I want to fight. I want to make Jamestown the best place we can make it. Even if you don't vote for me, vote January 9th, because these local elections, I think, is where you make your voice heard. That's you can vote in November, but what you like to say, North Dakota, what does that? You don't want to really do much for the presidential election, but you vote in Jamestown, you vote for Jamestown people. That's where your voice is heard.
Thank you, Brock, and thank you to all of our candidates and to our audience. I would also like to thank all of those who helped with this forum that was hosted by the Jamestown Area Chamber, our volunteers, our timer, thank you very much. Also, another huge thank you to the North Dakota Farmers Union for donating the space for this event. This evening's forum was recorded, and the recording will be available on the Chamber's social media at a later date. Lastly, like our candidate said, I want to remind you that this year's election is being held on June 9th. You must be a U.S. citizen, be at least 18 years of age, and a legal North Dakota resident, and a resident in the precinct for at least 30 days preceding the election. So please provide an acceptable form of ID at the voting site. The forums today covered some of the contested races for the city of Jamestown, but all Stutsman County residents are allowed to vote at the Jamestown Civic Center on June 9th, 2026 from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you again, and I hope to see you on Thursday when we will be having the races for the City Park Board and our mayoral candidates. Have a good evening.